Sameem Ali, a much-respected Manchester City councillor. She came into community politics in her 30s as a mother of two, as many do. But the messages she brings to this multicultural city and country are special because of Sameem's own early history, which she's now told in a very vivid, extraordinary book called Belonging. But before we explain why it was also extraordinary, can I just ask you whether it was a hard story to tell, personally?
Yes, it took me about 5 years to write it. You know, I think at the beginning there were more tears than words, really, because it took me that long to write it.
You really had to haul it out.
Yeah, originally I wrote it to heal myself. I didn't write it to get it published or anything, because I needed to put it on paper and read it and accept this is what happened to me. And the only way I knew how to do that was to put it on paper. And
well, it's been a useful thing, I think, to everyone for you to put it on paper. I mean, we'll just run through it without harrowing you too much all over again. You start with your first 6 years in a children's home, which ironically was just about the best bit of your childhood, wasn't it?
It was a brilliant time. I was in a children's home opposite Cannock Chase in Staffordshire, and it was a beautiful place. It was 25 acres of woodland we lived across from, and it was an amazing place. You know, the staff were house mothers way back then, and they treated you like their own children.
And kind people. Your
very
Auntie
kind
Peggy,
people,
who was really important to you. And
yes.
In fact, you found her again since the book, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I found her again. Yeah, it took me a couple of years to find her, but I found her.
And you had basically been abandoned by your family, partly, you think, because you were imperfect. You had a bad foot. You had a turned-in foot which needed operation and so on. And the really frightening bit begins when your Pakistani birth family take you back. Your mother takes you back, and you're about 7. At first, were you pleased at this idea of going back to your own family?
Extremely. I was really you know, I had a mother and father. I had brothers and sisters. You know, in my head, it was cool. It was really good because I had family to play with. You know, and that's all a 7-year-old would think about, really. You know,
but they weren't. They were not remotely kind to you when you did go back.
No, they weren't. Unfortunately. They treated me like a modern-day Cinderella, really. You know, I was quickly taught to clean and to cook. I was cooking for the whole tribe, really, the whole family. Yeah, the whole family. By the age of 9 years old, and I was cleaning the house. I was coming home from school, going straight to the kitchen, cooking, and then cleaning up afterwards.
And being knocked about.
Yes, and being hit as well if I didn't do it properly.
I have to say, one of the things which shocked me most was when at the end of the book you suddenly see the social services file on you and your sister, who was also there for a while, saying they're concerned that at 3 years old you're getting too anglicised in the children's home and that therefore rehabilitation will be difficult. I mean, talk about a cultural cringe.
That was when I was 3 years old. You know, I wasn't taken back until I was 7. And so...
But the word rehabilitation, the suggestion that somehow it was an evil thing being done to you, looking after you kindly, and you'd be better off, however abused, with your roots.
Yeah, I think way back then it was a different concept, though. I don't think that would happen today, or would it? You know,
it gets even more shocking, the story, when you find yourself shipped off to Pakistan, aged 13, and married. Yes. Did you have the slightest idea when they sent you off to Pakistan that this was what it was for?
No, because they told me that I was going on holiday, and I was happy, really. You know, my first holiday in years, in 5 years, you know, I was going on holiday. We used to go on holiday in the children's home every year to Rhyl, of all places. But, you know, it was really happy memories of going on holiday, and so I thought it's a holiday, it's going to be really nice. At first it was, until... I was forced into this marriage.
They just handed you over to this considerably older young man for full-on marriage. I mean, what was particularly grim again, and you come to this sort of later in the book, you discover, was why. It's because as a UK-born girl, you were a bargaining counter.
I was.
Yeah.
I was told by my sister within a squabble that, you know, she was mean and said, you know, what are you anyway? You know, you're just the winnings of a gambling bet.
So how, you just explain the gambling bit.
My uncle owed money in Pakistan. He owed this person a lot of money, and so he promised him that he would get his son married off to a British-born girl, so his son can come over to England and earn and live the life of luxury, basically.
Little Sameem, aged 13, taken out there and married and raped, basically, and made pregnant. I mean, what was going on in your head? What did you think did you think your mother had totally betrayed you? What did you think?
Well, I think about it now, and I just can't believe that a mother could do that to a daughter, really. You know, why did she do it? You know, what was going through her head, because no mother, not any sane mother, would do that to their daughter.
But what about your own feelings at the time? Did you think, I have to escape from this? I mean, you're obviously a very strong-minded person, you've grown up to be. Did you think, I am going to get myself out of this somehow?
The only way I knew how to was to commit suicide, and I tried that twice while I was over there. But then the glimmer of hope was, if I get pregnant, then I will be brought back to the UK.
For maternity care.
Yeah, and so I didn't know what pregnant was at the time, and so I just prayed. I said, you know, I just looked up at God and said, you know, I just want to get pregnant, just get me pregnant. I don't know how, I don't know.
You didn't even know what pregnant was?
No.
Really?
And so, you know, a couple of months later, my mother said that I'm pregnant and she would bring me back.
So you came back and you had the baby in England. How on earth did the hospital not seem to notice that this 14-year-old girl with a rather dominant mother appeared to be having a baby? Were the social services taking no interest at all? No,
because it was labelled as a cultural issue back then, and they wouldn't even touch it with a barge pole. It was like, you know, OK, she's pregnant, her family can look after her. And alarm bells should have rang. They should have rang when I was missing in school at the age of 12 years old. Alarm bells should have rang when I came back pregnant. The GPs should have picked up that, and alarm bells should have rang when I was in hospital giving birth to a baby boy at the age of 14. But
one can rather see why you went into politics in later years. I mean, I have to say, the fact that you seem in later years, before her death, to have forgiven your mother is extraordinary to me, because reading the book, I feel she should be in prison for child abuse, the beatings, and procuring the rape of a child. You know, I mean, no question. You know, you're looking at a 6-year sentence here.
Yeah.
Would you have wanted that? Would you have wanted, or did you have some kind of a racial family loyalty that you couldn't quite get away from?
I don't think it was family loyalty. I wasn't going to turn into my mother. My mother had so many angers built up inside her, and she got it out on me, basically, and I wasn't going to let me be angry and get it out on my children. You know, it would have affected the way that I had brought my boys up, and I wasn't going to allow that to happen.
Because you say boys, because of course you ran away very sensibly, got married properly, and still are. Oscar sounds a lovely man, I have to say. Fallen in love with your husband from the book. But, I mean, we have all these people sitting here, their mouths hanging open at this astonishing. We have to just say it goes on when the police come to the door saying they've arrested a group of men, including your brother, who are on their way to kidnap and conceivably kill you, honour killing.
Yes. I was woken up one day and the police were banging on the door. I opened the door and the police said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why? What's up?" And they then told me that they had arrested 3 people who had my address in their pocket, and they were on the way down to kidnap me by all means possible.
And your son.
And my son as well. And fortunately, they were stopped on off the motorway on a routine check by the police. So my brother had paid them £50 each to do that deed.
You've given your brother as well. You've spoken to your brother as well since.
I've only said hello to him, and that's about it. But
just,
you know, I'm not an angry person. I would not let that anger, because if you let allow anger to even enter your mind, you know, it builds up and builds up, and I've accepted everything that's happened to me.
Have we moved on from this cultural cringe, this refusal of police and social services to take enough attention to the abuse of young girls? You're shaking your head. You're saying no. Martin, you're a Manchester journalist. Do you think this is all still a serious problem?
I do. I mean,
unfortunately, it is.
I think so, because I do quite a lot of work in Yorkshire, and Anne Cryer in Keighley, has spoken out about this, the MP there, and has had a hard time of it. I mean, I think thanks to people like yourself, Sam, and to her, it seems to me it is getting much better, and the police do seem to be taking it more knowledgeably, but a huge way to go. Anyone should pick up this book, touchingly called Belonging. Mancunian now. Belonging. So Sameem's book is astonishing. We must move back